episode 1 of the LaLanne Pass It On podcast, where we talk to people who are impacting lives of people around the world by spreading the good news of health and fitness. My name is Greg Justice, and I am here with my co-host, who is the real star of the show, Elaine, LaLanne. How are you today, Elaine?
I don't know. Without you, we wouldn't have this.
No, let's split that. Without
I'm so excited. This
we
is
wouldn't have this.
episode number 1, right?
This is episode number 1. And hey, I got to tell you, we've got the perfect episode number 1 guest for today. You and I both know this gentleman. You and I both know him very well. Our first guest today, episode number 1, will forever be known as the 8-minute abs guy. He will forever be known as that.
All right.
He has helped millions of people around the world lose millions of pounds and millions of inches. He has
8 minutes a day get you on your way. Is that right?
That's right. That's it.
That's the motto.
Hey, Jaime has dedicated his professional life to health and fitness, more than 3 decades, helping people change their lives and impacting the world. Now, he has co-authored a best-selling book titled, "If You Want to Live, Move," putting the boom back into the boomers. And it was with my co-host, LaLanne. They all co-authored that book. It was a best-selling book a 3 years ago. And Jaime just released a couple weeks ago a brand new book titled Age Rewind, Turning Back the Clock. It is my pleasure and an honor to welcome Mr. Jaime Brenkus. Welcome to the show, Jaime.
Greg, thank you very much. And Elaine, always a pleasure to see her. And boy, I got to live up to that expectation now with all that momentum you've got there. I got to tell you, the first episode, what a great way. You know, it's borrowed wisdom, Greg. That's what we get with Elaine, borrowed wisdom. And we did that with our first book with certainly, I just feel, blessed to be a part of this LaLanne legacy that we're trying to pass it along. And I've got to tell you, like you said, we've had the pleasure of helping a lot of people. And, it's funny, you and I are both in the same age group now because, we're not 23, we're not 43. I just turned 63 last week. And I know you're kind of right there with me. And Elaine's not that far ahead of us, but a little further ahead. But
98. That's a little ahead.
You're a spring chicken, Elaine. Everybody should look like you at that age. Believe me. And it is about aging.
To Jaime.
Yeah.
He called he called up here, but then he went to my agent, and he said he wanted to do this book on putting the boom back into boomers. That really got me. I said, putting the boom back into boomers, that's terrific. And so that's how Jaime and I met, putting the boom back into boomers. But we added with something, and Jaime added this: if you want to live, move, because that's one of Jack's sayings. So we put, if you want to live, move. And then Jaime, that's his idea, putting the boom back into boomers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, Elaine, it was the great addition to that. And in the spirit of Jack, we wrote that book. And I think, again, if you read the book, from start to finish, you can feel that Jack's energies through that whole 170 pages. And when I say borrowed wisdom, think about all the years that you've been doing this. I've been doing this since 1985, which, if you do the math, it's almost 4 decades. And, and it's not stopping now. So we are passing this along. And I think the biggest thing is, as we age and as a boomer, we want to do 3 things. We want to live longer, we want to feel better, and we want to look younger, right? We've earned these bags under the eyes, but I'll tell you what, we want to do those 3 things. And by giving them strategies, Elaine, just like you and I did in our book, I think that's the key. There's an old saying, I will not let age change me. I'll change the way I age. And I got to tell you, I think a lot of the stuff that we're talking about is non-negotiable when we get to a certain age. There's no doubt. What's the real cost of aging? What if you do nothing? And there's a lot of people like that, but we know it's high blood pressure, it's type 2 diabetes, it's heart disease, it's dementia could come in, mild forms of cancer, loss of mobility, loss of energy, loss of muscle tissue. And I've got to tell you, to me, it is non-negotiable. You have to do something. And what we're trying to do, and even in this new book that I wrote, it's Ageless Energy and Timeless Health with Age Rewind. We're trying to close the gap between lifespan and health span, right? And, of course, lifespan, you're going to go from 0 to whatever number you're at. But it's that health span. We want to try to get your quality of life going. And I think that's the thing. Getting fit never gets old, does it?
No,
that I can tell you.
That's true.
Now you're rewinding, you're turning back the clock. And
Yeah.
That's what Jack used to say, reverse the aging process.
He did.
Hey, Jamie, let's dig into a little bit of that. As you can see, I've got the book up on the screen now. The title, Age Rewind, Turning Back the Clock. You kind of gave a broad picture of it. Let's dig into that a little bit. Let's say the 3 big takeaways that you would get from this book, available on Amazon, by the way?
Well, Greg, right off the bat, I think if you can use Jack's saying was, of course, if exercise is king, nutrition is queen, you put them together, you got a kingdom. So if you think about that book was kind of written with that element. And for people our age, I try to focus in on rituals. Elaine and I have a ritual too. We do a morning time ritual. We know that we get things done when we have these rituals. So I go over some basic rituals in there that I do, and it's kept me, fairly healthy through the years. And of course, the nutrition element is equally important, right? Your fork and spoon's your best piece of fitness equipment, and I truly believe that. And so we focus in on, of course, now protein, produce, and portions. And most people, as you guys know, as you age, you actually need more protein, not less. And so there's something that happens in our body. Of course, it's called sarcopenia. Greg, I know you know, and Elaine, basically it's this muscle leaking, and it happens regardless. I mean, let's face it, that in itself is extremely important as we age, because that's going to reverse that. We need to get out there and do some type of resistance training. And Elaine, remember your ARC? Remember you came up with the acronym ARC. And that was great because it focused on resistance. And, if you look at the math and you do the math, especially ladies out there that, of course, after the age of 30, they can lose 3 to 5% of their muscle mass. And they're going, okay, I'm eating the same amount of calories. Why am I getting a little lumpier and bumpier in areas? And it's because that muscle tissue has weaned. And so what has happened now you've got to rev up that metabolism. And the only way I know how to do it is, Greg, you're flying through the air with all your trapeze items over there. I believe in, resistance training. It doesn't have to be even weights. It could be your own body is resistant. It could be bands. It could be mom's tomato paste. It doesn't matter. So we're trying to say, look, these are things you can do that don't disrupt your life, but make a difference. And I think that's
about the hand.
Yeah, for sure. Right. We got Get Handy. That's a part of that, which is our remember our Get Handy portions.
Yeah, your portions. You have a thumb does this and
Yeah, Greg, to me the portions are extremely important. Now, of course, we want produce in there as well, so we get lean, green, and clean, right? Lean proteins, chicken, fish, turkey, beef, pork, some tofu. Green, I don't care what you have. Let's eat your vegetables. They fill you up and not out. And then clean. We got to have clean, right? Because clean is limiting the empty calories. The cookies, the candies, the Coke, the crackers, the CRAP, right? We got to eliminate that. And then, of course, the idea of Getting Handy. We got the best portion control device within our hand. 3 ounces of meat or lean protein fits in the palm of your hand, right? It's a deck of cards, okay? That's one part, okay? Now, vegetables, 2 cupped hands. That's your vegetable portion, right? So you're navigating through your meal. Yep. And then your fist. Now, I'm half Italian, I got to tell you. So your pastas, your rice, your potatoes is the size of your fist. Now, guys, when's the last time you went to an Italian restaurant and they served you just that size? We'd get up and walk out. It's, so we got portion distortion out there. And of course, the fats are your thumb. So you got your thumb, your whole thumb would be things like peanut butter, sour cream, your salad dressings. Your thumb tip okay, would be your mayo, your oils, your butter, things like that. And of course, 1 cup of your cupped hand is your snacks, okay, your chips and so forth. So don't eat out of the bag, eat from your hand. So this get handy idea is great for portions because you can now navigate through any meal. So we make it simple. And that's kind of the strategies in that book. It's focusing on a lot of stories. We have a lot of testimonials of people who have succeeded. You know, to me, that's so important. That's what makes my my job real easy when I get results like that. And it's all about results. And I think the biggest thing is you have to look at fitness and say, you know, fitness is like medicine, right? You got to take it every day. It's like brushing your teeth. And we believe it. You know, if you Jack had a great line: if you rest, you rust. And he
Yeah,
also, Elaine, I
he
don't
said,
remember
keep
this.
it, he also said, keep it simple.
Keep it
Everything
simple.
simple. Don't make it complicated.
Oh, Elaine, I so agree. If you tell somebody who's basically a couch potato for the last 30, 40 years, and you say, well, you got to exercise 2 hours a day in a gym, they're never going to do it. That's why that idea of 8 minutes is the ideal, because it's not just any 8 minutes. It's 8 minutes of constant movement with fusing cardiovascular and resistance together. But there's 1,440 minutes in a day. We're only asking for 8 to start. Then if you got more time, give us, you know, double eights, triple eights, 16 minutes, 24. That's 1/180th of your day. What are the other times of your day going by that you are now, you know, not putting yourself as a priority? But Jack had a great line, and he said, you know, people don't die of old age; they die of inactivity. And I truly believe that. And then Elaine, you had one
yourself, right?
Oh, for sure. And you had a great line in you had in one of the articles in the last couple of months. You say, "Hey, I don't want to be old when I'm old."
I'm old.
Exactly. And so I'm telling people you got to go from old to bold, right? And we can do this by these little minor alterations. And that's kind of what the book's about, Greg. It's just about saying, look, you know, we don't stop exercising because we grow old. We grow old because we stop exercising. So get out there and move, right? Get out there and move a little bit.
Sound just like Jack.
Well, I think that's the biggest thing, you know, you got to, and I think people look at that and say, okay, well, you know, you've been doing this for a long time. Yes, but I don't care if you're 8 or 88, the principles stay the same, you know, and I'm telling you, as you age, Elaine, you were right on with the arc aspect, the idea of resistance.
We had an age to it, arc. That's you know,
you had an age to it.
Attitude, the
resistance.
R is for resistance, and then the
C and the H
is consistency.
Yeah, you got to be consistent.
Yeah,
and
consistency,
I totally
and then H for harmony.
That's what it was. Boy, I tell you, your memory is right on. You got a better memory than me, believe me. I think that's the great thing. And I think the other thing is, you know, EHOH, right? You know, the Ohio thing. EHOH is every hour on the hour. Greg, I tell people, look, I don't care if you're reading a book, if you're watching TV, if you're on the computer, every hour, I want you to get up, and I don't care if you're doing some squats or twists or, you know, anything, to get up and move. Don't sit on that couch for 2, 3, 4 hours at a time. You just got to keep the body moving. And then
renew, reshape, and refuel.
You got that right. See, that's right from the book, Elaine. That is perfect. And that you can't get around that, because that focuses on remember, we focused on the mindset too. And that was the other thing, you know, again, you have to make it baseline doable for people, right? It has to be baseline doable or they won't do it. And so that's the type of things that we'd like to focus in on. And yeah, our book, I'll tell you, that book is like a Bible for boomers. It's a boomer Bible. Mm-hmm. And I just think, you know, we focus on things like even using your own body as resistance. And I think that's a key. So there's no excuses, guys. And I think, you know, people have a case of the twos, Greg, a case of the twos. Oh, I can't exercise. It's too cold. It's too warm. It's too windy. It's too late. It's too, you know, it's too early.
Excuses won't do the trick. No,
they won't. They won't burn calories. They don't do anything. And so, you know, and a wish is just a wish, right? If you don't work at it, you're never going to get results. But we want to make it simple, just like you're saying, Elaine, simple so they can do it and follow it. And again, you know, I think being a leader out there and showing them, you know, how you can do it at this age. again, Greg and I aren't 23. We're not 43 anymore. We're 63. He's flying through the air, for God's sake. I watch him every morning. I can't believe the things he's doing. It's unbelievable.
He's amazing. You're
It
amazing.
is absolutely
Greg.
amazing.
He swings
100%.
from this one to that one, to ring to rung to rung to rung, and
Oh my
and the
shoulders,
balance is fantastic. I want to say
unbelievable.
something right here about the
Yes.
two of you before we have to leave. It's been a pleasure to work with both of you.
Right.
You, Jamie, on my book, If You Want to Live, Move, and putting the boom back into boomers, and Pride and Discipline. Greg came to me and he said, just like you did, Jamie, you came and said you want to do a book with me. Greg said, you ought to do something about Jack, his pride and discipline. And then I started looking up all these writings of his, and it's about the writings. So his mind. He says everything starts between your ears. What wiggles your finger? What? So if you're just sitting there and you don't wiggle a finger and you don't move your mind is just not doing anything. It's just sitting. So you want to keep your mind and your body active.
Mm-hmm.
Elaine, I got to tell you about that book, that Pride and Discipline book. And I think I mentioned to you last time we talked for your birthday. I've got to tell you, that to me is a blueprint for fitness success. If anybody's out there that is a trainer or a dietitian and they want to focus in on how they connect with people, that's one thing Jack had. He had that connectivity with his audience. And you read that book and it is like a Bible for business and especially fitness. And I keep going back to those chapters. It was so well written. The stories were great. And to me, that was, just to be a part of that, like I said.
Try to make it
honor.
full for everyone. It's not an exercise book. I mean,
No.
people think of Jack an exercise. It's his mind, and all of these writings you'll see, and it's inspirational, and it gives you encouragement. And I'm telling you, every time I edit it, I was all charged up again. So, Jamie,
Great.
you're a charger. You are a charger. Greg, I mean, you are, both of you are so charged up, and I'm so thrilled and honored to have worked with you and to be working with you.
Well,
Oh,
Elaine,
gosh.
let me just say that, and Jamie said it earlier, it is because of what Jack and you did that Jamie and I are passing it on. And the name of this podcast
That's the
is
premise of
exactly
this
what
whole thing.
Jamie and I are doing because of Jack and you, the legacy that you all have left and are leaving. And Jamie, I want you to show that picture. But before we do that, I want to ask, because we'd kind of covered a little bit of it earlier, but both of you, I think this is important for people to hear. We talk about routines and having things that we do on a regular basis, consistency you talked about in your arch. Tell me what your all's morning ritual is. What do you do? I mean, do you have a morning ritual? Or, I mean, are you consistent about that? I want to hear that because I think that helps others kind of develop their own ritual. Jamie, what is your morning ritual?
Well, certainly even before I get out of bed, we do exercises. There's about 8 exercises I do to get the synovial fluid going. Synovial fluid, Greg, as you know, and Elaine knows, it's juice for the joints, guys, right? Motion is lotion, and it's like WD-40, because everybody, they go to bed and they feel, hey, I feel pretty peppy. Then when they get up in the morning, it's like, oh my gosh, like you wrestled an alligator. And I don't care how good shape you are, it's the same. So I do these 8 exercises. I know Elaine has her own morning ritual as well. Before I even get out of bed, I do that. And then before I go to work, Greg, I'll tell you, I don't miss this. I do 3 things, and that's my second ritual. I do a push-up. I do 50 push-ups, but I tell people to start with 25. I don't care if it's on the wall, if it's on a bench, or even if it's conventional. But think about this. Remember, Elaine just said consistency, right? So if you do 25 during the course of the month times 30, that's 750 push-ups during the course of the month. Then I do a plank. I do it for 1 minute. That's 30 minutes in the course of the month to get a slimmer, trimmer, tighter waistline. I got to tell you something. I end on squats, right? So your hips, your buns, your thighs, getting those toned up. I do 25 times 30. I get 750 squats in the course of the month. Now, again, consistency, because is that gonna cause hypertrophy of the muscle? Absolutely. And what do? I spent maybe a minute and a half, and what it does, and reframe that, Elaine can reframe it too. It starts me off right up here mentally. I know right off the bat, I did something good for me. I don't care how bad my day is, I'm gonna get that in. And then, of course, during the course of the day, I own a gym over here, so I have a fitness studio. I do upper body Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I do my lower body, and I do sprints, Greg. I do sprints. I don't really do as much cardio as people would want to think. I'm telling you, because to me, I think I've got this down to a science with the nutrition. And of course, to me, to have an attainable look is so important. I don't want to be a bodybuilder. I don't want to do that. I think that's not attainable. Most people are, they don't want to put that effort in, and neither do I. But you want to be realistic. And so I want to lead by example, and I know this works. And so if you don't have to kill yourself in a gym, and you can eat the foods you normally like to eat, but right with the right portions, it is baseline doable. And that's why it works long term. Anybody can go on a diet. To me, that's not the interesting part. It's keeping it from returning is the key. And that's where you got to have lifestyle instead of a diet mentality. And that's what we try to do.
Awesome.
You want to hear mine?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, I don't do what I used to do, but because I have a bone-on-bone knee, but I don't get down on the floor anymore and do my push-ups, but I do push-ups against the sink or wherever I am.
Yep.
But I go on a treadmill in my gym here. Then I do 25 knees to chest on each side, and then I do 25 leg lifts. And then I do hold on to this bar here, and I do squats because my balance isn't the greatest anymore at 98. And let's see what else I do. I do a lot of pull downs, in the gym, and I do a lot of things on the sink, like I'm in the kitchen and I say, oh, I think I'll do this, and I'll do the knees to chest, and I'll do squats and hold onto the sink or whatever. So there's all sorts of things you can do.
And Elaine is
I
famous.
always do my exercise out of bed, and before I get out of bed, and move my mouth right here. When I get older, this
Faceatronics.
gets tighter and tighter. And you don't realize you got 55 muscles in your face, and so I'm always moving my face a lot. A lot of people think I've got oh my gosh, you don't look 98. Well, I think it's because I've been exercising,
Yeah.
And in our book, Jamie, we have, I think I gave some exercise, I'm not sure, but anyway.
Yeah.
And Jack had his Faceatronics program. He had an entire exercise program.
Yeah, I have a video on that. Yeah.
Oh, it was great.
The whole
kind of
family's doing it.
Well, and to tie on to that, the face thing, the one thing that I do before I get out of bed every morning, I have an acronym for it, and it's right there. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, BEDWAS.
It stands for begin every day with a smile.
Oh,
Before I
man.
get out of bed, I smile intentionally. It's subconscious now. I wake up in the morning and do that because that triggers something in your brain. It changes the chemistry in your brain. When you start your day with a smile, you're beginning it in a positive manner. So, like Elaine said, Jack always talked about everything starts with the 6 inches between your ears.
Boy, isn't that the case?
And that
that's great with the smile.
Then he'd go like this and like this, and he'd stretch his hands and stretch. He'd do a lot of stretching with his, and always moving his neck,
That was the chiropractor coming out.
Exactly. Hey, Jamie, tell us a little story about that picture.
Yeah, well, I've got to tell you, it's funny. And by the way, when you wear a smile, you're well dressed. Yes. Anyway, okay. So, guys, I got to tell you, Elaine, I owe it to you guys. Oh, it's the other way. Here we go. You're upside down, Elaine. So, my fitness studio, I just took this off the wall. Before I leave every night, Elaine, I have to tell you, I tap you guys, right? I hit it and say thank you, because you guys were the visionaries. You paved the way for us. And I got to tell you, we owe everything to you. Everything we've done, including a career, has been because of you. So I appreciate that. And like I said, I'm honored to be a part of the LaLanne legacy going forward and passing it along. So I think these podcasts are fantastic. And I know one thing, I'm going to be there doing those jumping jacks for the world record. I'll tell you what, that's fantastic.
Oh, yeah, an
guys.
idea, yeah, an idea. Oh, it would be great to have you down there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll be, we'll be talking a lot more about
Or
that.
wherever you are, you
Yes,
can
for
do it
sure.
with your people, you know.
Yes.
We'll be talking a lot more about that in an upcoming episode. So thanks for mentioning that, Jamie. And hey, before we go, Jamie, tell us how people can connect with you, your website, where they can follow you.
You know what, Greg, we made it easy. 8minutebody.com. Can't go wrong there. 8minutebody.com. And we got a lot of good stuff there. And, basically everything we're talking about and so forth. And it's a community. And I think that's the key, right? So I think if you do that, and again, us boomers, we want community efforts and stuff, but it's age specific stuff. So I got to tell you, just from that angle alone, there's 80 million of us who want to do the same thing. Again, live longer, feel better, and look younger. And that's us. And so, I hope we'll continue doing what we're doing. And again, many thanks to Elaine and Jack for paving the way for us. And I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, really, truly.
Hey, Jamie, thank you for being an amazing first podcast episode.
Yes.
Yes.
Pass it on.
Thank these two.
2 thumbs
All right,
up,
you guys.
Jamie.
Thanks, guys.